Hello and welcome to Real Men Feel. My name is Andy Grant. Real Men Feel is all about encouraging men to express and allow for all of their emotions, because feeling is something most men have not been taught, something hasn't been modeled for them and hasn't been encouraged. And indeed, for some men, they were even punished for being emotional while they're growing up, or some men might say that they're punished in different ways for being emotional now as adults as well. We don't do that here. This is a punishment-free zone. I hope that it's also a judgment-free zone, but I will not own that I am free of all judgment. But it's our goal. We won't consciously judge you. There. So, but I can guarantee you won't be punished for taking part in any episode of Real Men Feel.
For sure.
So whether this is your first time listening or you've been a long-time listener, thank you very much. We are winding up our first year of production. This podcast is produced live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find show notes and more information at realmenfeel.org. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes at realmenfeel.org/iTunes. And while you're there, please give us a rating or review. You can also find us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play. If you liked that whole twit thing, you can follow us on Twitter at realmenfeel.org. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. Your comments, feedback, and participation are always welcome during the live recording and anytime in our Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. And any links mentioned during each episode are in the show notes, which you can find on the realmenfeel.org blog. So, with me as always, as has been the case for all but one show in our history, my co-host and friend, Alpio Hunter.
Hey, Andy.
How are you doing today?
Oh, man, I just was thinking it's been incredible to think that, we have gone practically the entire year this year. At first, not every week, but boy, it quickly became every week.
Yeah. I think it would be funny. I was going to go back and look to be sure, but I think we did one show thinking it would be bi-weekly, and then, we quickly, either show one or two, we said, oh, let's just do it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been that way ever since.
Yeah.
It's been
this is our final show for 2016, and this is actually episode 41. This is the first year we've been doing this. And, it's the final days of 2016. We wanted to explore year-end rituals, ways to release the old, to welcome the new. And I really wanted to do this because I see so many people posting on social media about, oh, what a horrible year 2016 was, and good riddance, and get out of here, and this year sucked. And it seems to me that that's being said because of the loss of lots of celebrities this year. Mm-hmm. And it really also increased with the results of the presidential election, for at least the vocal people that I see.
Yeah, I would agree. In fact, speaking of celebrities, today we just had Carrie Fisher who left us.
Right. And
so there are a lot of people at work who are, remembering her and talking about that. And so, as far as the shock of so many famous, well-known people, absolutely. But I think that's one of the rituals also that a lot of folks tend to engage in, and that is the ritual of commiseration. Mm. They go back and it becomes like a whole bitch fest, if you will.
Yeah. And you even said that, the shock of, humans die, mm-hmm. right? Our lifespans have end dates. So it's always like, oh, I'm so shocked that person died. I'm so shocked. I'm like, really? Is shock the word? Surprised? Oh, didn't know it'd be today, but we're all we're all going to stop breathing at some point.
Exactly. What's the saying? There's only two guarantees in this world: death and taxes.
Yeah. But I was looking, and so Carrie Fisher passed away today. And George Michael just a couple days ago now.
Yeah, just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Right? And earlier, the big one, I don't want to say the big ones, the most celebrated, the most noticed, Prince, mm-hmm. David Bowie, mm-hmm. And then Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
But I looked at saw him on the list, really? That already feels like so long ago, but he died this June.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I thought it was years ago when I realized it was this year. I'm like, yeah. Wow, where's time going? And that's probably another ritual. So the ritual of thinking of commiserating, the ritual of remembering celebrities who have passed, the ritual of listening to the news and all the major news events, the ritual of talking about, oh my God, where did time go?
Yeah. And so I follow different numerologists and astrologists and energy worker types. And, everyone that looks at numerology is called 2016 the year of completion. That it broke down to a number 9. So that's we really have 0 through 9 as our digits. So there was a 9 year. So it was things ending and wrapping up. So last January, a forecast I read said there'll be a lot of people passing on this year. And they're like, wow, that prediction was nailed right on. And it was they said a lot of creative artistic types, because they had really expressed everything that they had really come to get out. So as it happened, I didn't, I feel sad and we won't see that person make something new or be in the movies again, but I'm also amazed, somebody's greatest hits album when they're a musician, or old movies, like it invigorates a whole generation of people that never knew them. Right. So it's almost it becomes a public celebration.
It does. In fact, probably one of the most recent ones that I remember was the day that Farrah Fawcett died. And that afternoon, Michael Jackson died. And poor Farrah Fawcett was totally forgotten. I mean, the whole day was pretty much devoted to her. And then all of a sudden, Michael Jackson died on that same day. And then she was totally forgotten. No, it's all about Michael Jackson. And never a mention about poor Farrah Fawcett. Since that time. Yeah. Right, to your point, that whole thing of remembering, commiserating, and but more so celebrating the life, especially of the creative types, I think is a really fascinating thing. And the fact that you brought up the fact that it's a year of completion, I have to say, it really feels that way. It's a completion of many of the old dynamics, the old order, and even the results of this particular election, to me, is like a last gasp of an old dynamic, an old paradigm that's trying to cling to life.
Yeah. And so 2017 is being called the Year of New Beginnings by Elizabeth Peru, is who I got that term from. But it breaks down numerology. You got a 2, 0, a 1, and a 7. Adds up to 10, breaks down to a 1. So every year is a new beginning, but this year, because it breaks down to 1, is truly energetically, numerology, a new beginning, a new series of an 8 years of energy of going through different phases. So one thing that I always like to do, and especially this year, an end of this 8 years of energy, and again, as I looked and saw that they talked about his 8-year chunks, when I looked back, and I've been doing personal growth stuff for 8 years. Exactly. I was like, wow, that was bizarre. So what will I be doing the next 8 years?
Right. Amping it up.
So one of the things that this phrase I caught this week while researching for the show was winding down the year with awareness. Like, and not just saying, it sucked, get out of here, but being willing, to go, and what lessons, who will you miss? Like, what music is brought back to surface, right?
Yeah.
What old movie you're going to watch now, like, and that guy's gone, and, will be different for you, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's a twist on the Henry Ford quote of whether you think you can or think you can't, but if you think the year sucked or you thought the year was great, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. Either way, you are going to be right.
So,
Oh, no, go ahead.
I like to, and I encourage everyone to take some time to honor, to appreciate, and to recognize all of our hard-won and intense lessons.
Absolutely.
And those lessons can show up in joy and happiness, and they can show up in painful moments too.
Absolutely. Every single one can be a yay you moment. We need to have Hazelin on the show one of these days to do the whole yay you thing, but she's so amazing. But, and to your point regarding the whole awareness thing, the pain as well as the joy, they both balance each other out. But and there's a fine line between being bitching and being aware. You can remember and just spew and just go bleh, talk about how horrible the year was and everything else and everything that went wrong and so forth. Or you can be aware of the totality of it. You can be aware of where I work, we have these things called the could be betters, or the CBB, #CBB. Could be better. Instead of saying, I screwed up or whatever, you can say, hey, you know what, could be better. Or we can love it. And rather than going back and saying, beating yourself up, taking out the measuring stick like we human beings like to do, and then instead of measuring, using it to hit ourselves over the head with it, just say, hey, what could be better? And then using that to move forward. That to me is the complete picture of awareness.
Yeah.
Looking at all of it, good, bad, ugly, and great.
Oh. So I want when you were growing up, what did New Year's Eve? What did the end of a year? It's not even a year. What did that mean to you, or what did you think it?
Well, it's interesting because my family never really had any real year-end rituals per se, but there was always a beginning of the year ritual. So in Brazil, where my mom is from, the ritual down there and the tradition down there is whatever you do at the beginning of the year is what you're going to be doing for the rest of the year. And so there was always an awareness at the end of the year as to what it is that you wanted to accomplish in the next year. What it is that you wanted to do in that next year. And in that first day of the year, do that thing, even if it's for a short period of time. And you can make it a crazy busy day if you really wanted to. So, so for instance, this past year when 2016 began, there are a number of things that I started doing in small little increments in order to kind of keep the ball rolling and keeping with that particular tradition that I grew up with. What you do on the first day of the year, you're going to be doing the rest of the year. So I slept in. I relaxed. I played. I contacted friends. I wrote. I did all the things that were, to me, the most important things to do. And I ended up continuing doing those things for most of the year. But interestingly enough, on the Chinese Zodiac, 2016 was also the year of the monkey. And I was born in the year of the monkey. And man, oh man, you want to talk about, my nickname, Shiny Squirrel, for shiny object, squirrel, monkeys. The monkey mind.
The monkey mind.
Boy, was that monkey energy so dominant this year. I mean, I was scattered like you wouldn't believe.
Cool. Well, that tradition, that ritual that you had growing up, and so it's based in Brazil.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So, in research, I found so this is a spiritual teaching that a Bulgarian master passed on, and I'll share this link. I don't have the author of this blog, but focus on the first 12 days of the new year, because the first 12 days represent the whole year. So you're saying the day one represents the whole year. So this teaching is that the first of the year represents the whole month of January. The second day represents February, and so on. So how you operate those 12 days is setting the tone for what you want to experience each of those months for the rest of the year.
I love that. That's a little less stressful than trying to do it all in a single day.
So you have 12 days to spread over all of the, the kindness, the love, the joy, the fun, the silliness, whatever you want to experience more of in the year to focus on for those 12 days. So that got me thinking, well, if that's, if that's an ancient teaching or made up by someone on a blog last week, I don't know. But if it's set in the past, like, well, is that where resolutions came from? And then people start off strong, and people seem to give up by day 12. So is that they've set the resolution then, and maybe the giving up of the resolutions isn't as bad as we thought, perhaps. Right.
Well, dude, if you're going to make shit up, make it good.
Yeah. And so then I wanted to I wonder what is I look for the definition of a resolution, and especially a New Year's Eve resolution, because that's when I was growing up, you heard of New Year's Eve resolutions and kissing someone at midnight and getting drunk. And that was it for what
triad.
Yes. The whole trinity of New Year's Eve.
Yeah, exactly.
Get drunk, get kissed, and promise to do something.
Get kissed or get laid, get drunk or and then the resolutions, yeah.
So a New Year's resolution is a tradition most common in the Western Hemisphere, but also found in the Eastern Hemisphere, in which a person makes a promise to do an act of self-improvement or something slightly nice. I love that slightly was in this definition. Such as opening doors for people, beginning with New Year's Day. And that's it. Right? But, I find that it's really become a joke these days. I thought, again, growing up as a child, hearing people say it seemed to have more serious, and it was really something they wanted to stick to. But now it's just, they're abandoned quickly. They're made fun of. I don't know if anyone seriously has a resolution, or they're made up at 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve.
Exactly. You're under peer pressure. Got to get that resolution.
Yeah.
So that brings up another interesting tradition as far as year-end traditions, and that is the tradition of sweating out over what resolutions am I going to have for the next year.
Yeah.
And then the tradition of criticizing the resolutions.
Yeah. So really the main and again, so I don't do resolutions. I never have, because they just feel like fake promises.
Pretty much.
If you want to resolve to do something, you don't need to wait for this one day of the year to do it.
Yeah, it's a magical day. No, it's whatever.
So what I always like to do, it starts in December. It's not just a New Year's Eve thing, but sometimes the day before, the day of New Year's Eve. I like to look back just at my calendars and schedules and blogs I've written, and start gathering like, what did happen? Oh yeah, because we just forget. Like, did I? Yeah, I think I did. Was that 5 years ago? Oh no, it was 6 months ago. Wow. And I really like to give thanks, to be reminded again of the lessons, to that notion of wind down with awareness.
Yes,
what the year really held, and then that usually starts bubbling up my desires. Like, is there a class I took and I didn't do anything with it yet? Or if I find like I live in Evernote, and I just tag all sorts of things, brainstorms, and I go like, oh, I found my brainstorm list from mid-year. I'm like, oh wow, like 5 of the 10 things got done. Awesome, right? So it gets that celebrating myself and the things that have happened, which really reminds me it's about the journey, not the destination.
Right.
Like, the goal isn't just let's get to the end of the year. Like, well, what did you do this year?
Yeah, exactly. And the whole awareness thing. For instance, I've almost gone. You could say almost to an extreme of living in the now, where I don't even worry about what has happened, but being aware of what has happened, being aware of how far you have come, absolutely helps with the journey. Absolutely helps you to understand or even tweak the destination or even change the destination as you're moving forward. So it doesn't necessarily, the way I look at it is, it doesn't, living in the now, it's critically important because the now is the only time it really exists. But being aware of the journey, being aware of where you've come from and where you are now is so much part of just expanding and growing. And it's a joyful part of the experience, to be honest.
Right, it really is. And if we just don't take that time to look back and it just wow, we took another trip around the sun. Like, what happened at that time? And again, so to look back with gratitude, with awareness, with recognition, with a bit of honoring everything that's shown up, and whether you really thought it was a sucky year, like honor what sucked, right? And to give pause, feel the another round of grief.
I just had a scroll moment. What sucked? The election. But other than that, no, it's been a great year.
Right. And well, so even if you thought, November 10th was just the end of the world, well, you had 9 months, full 9 months before that. And that's why, the whole year sucked was really, I think maybe that's why it bugs me now, because that was the black and white thinking I had and can have when I'm depressed and suicidal, right?
Right.
One bad thing, and you let it label entire year.
Exactly.
August died. Oh God, like it's the end of the world. What is the point of living? Like, well,
yeah.
Unless that was like your spouse, your dad, your child. There's plenty to keep going.
Right, exactly. And interestingly enough, this was the year that my father died, and yet it turned, at least as far as that relationship with him, even though he's physically no longer present, has also been the year that I've had the most incredible relationship with him. Because he's been freed from all of the societal conditioning and garbage and everything else that had been carrying it with him while he was here in the mortal state, and being aware of him being truly joyfully himself and supporting me in my endeavors and everything that I've been doing, and him cheering me on. Oh my gosh, it's been incredible in that regard.
Yeah. So again, you can look at a painful situation. You had every reason to call, oh, what a shitty year, like everyone else would complain about. But no, you can look back, wait, with the separation of time, wow, I got through that. And it pulled me into a tighter relationship somehow with my dad.
Yes. Yeah.
So again, we've said it before in many different ways, but there's a gift. In all of our collective shit, there are gifts.
That's exactly right. Sometimes you have to go digging through the shit, but there is a gift in there somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So if you're the type of person, if you've ever been hesitant, you don't look back, and it's, again, to live in the moment. But this now moment can be about focusing and giving thanks for what you've gotten through, even if you're giving thanks for a moment that didn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's been, you realize, wow, it's now been 7 years since I lost someone important to me. Like, wow, I could not have imagined that I would have gone on that long, or, you know, whatever it may be. But, you know, I encourage everyone to, so many of the things I found, you know, all start with just taking some time, right? Give, you know, a half hour all day, a week. I've got a friend going off to a 3-day of silence retreat to end the year, right? So you don't have to go, if you can go that far and want to, great. But you know, an hour alone, just in quiet, and just, you know, with your calendar, with your journal, however you kind of track your life. And there's one thing that I encourage my coaching clients to do, and that I actually did for the first time this year, was I call it, people call it a success journal. I call it an evidence log. And it's just jotting down my wins. And like each email, each rave review I've got, I would like put in a different place and not just get lost. So I have a physical notebook with like things cut out and reviews, and like, oh, and they're all intentionally out of order, not any different subjects. I just hope the page are
totally random.
Yeah. So
I actually keep what I call my celebration journal.
Yeah.
And it's all of the things I've celebrated throughout the year, you know, my yay me moments.
Cool. Yeah. So it's important to take that to, if you're a journaler, do you ever read your journals? Like, go back and skim. Like, look, what did you write last New Year's Day? Like,
I'll admit, I almost never go back and read my journals. Every once in a while, I might. But you know, for me, journaling is almost like a moment of capturing that moment in the now, in case somebody wants to see the journey. But for me, once I write something down, it's almost becomes a permanent part of my awareness, and I no longer need to go back to actually look at it, because somehow it's there. It's there for me to tap into. And then I usually don't have to, or need to, or want to in some cases.
Yeah. And, you know, as you're doing that, as you're reviewing your wins, your losses, the tough moments, like, let emotions come up. If you're going to come up, you know, let the tears flow, let it, you know, speak it out, cry it out, exercise it out, journal it out, vision board it out. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I know some people that, you know, they update their vision board and make a brand new one on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day.
Yeah.
You set that new thing. And like, and that's something I've never I've used vision boards, and I've never put them together with New Year's Eve or anything. Like, oh, that could be a cool family tradition.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And funny, because I've actually done the whole vision board thing myself. And what I realized that for me, the vision board felt too much like it was a generic one-size-fits-all type of an approach. And so I tried the vision board for a little while, and it was fun and it was playful, and it really kind of engaged more creative. Well, I would say a more creative side of me. No, truthfully, just virtually every part of me is creative, to be honest. And it just engaged a side of me that I really enjoyed. But in typical monkey or squirrel fashion, you know, I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. Let me move on. And truthfully, what I have found works for me is that the vision board is good to an extent for me, but now my tradition is thinking in terms of playfulness, thinking in terms of, oh, it would be fun if, and being aware of it would be fun if, and I don't necessarily even write it down anymore. It simply is just being aware of what would be fun in this particular moment. There are big things, and I'll write down the big things so I don't forget, particularly if there are dates involved or deadlines or things like that. But otherwise, it's, you know, I live my life by discovery and not by design. It doesn't mean that I don't have a destination. It just means that I live it by discovery. And I allow myself to enjoy the journey. I allow myself to kind of go along, go with the flow, be diverted, you know, backtrack a little bit, find a different route, whatever. But it is part, you know, so the vision board has turned more into just a journey of awareness and knowing what it is that I want and whether or not I've gotten it. Every person has their thing. Every person has their processes that they go through. And I think that the whole tradition, you know, that year-end tradition of, you know, measuring and looking and examining and everything else, every person has their own way. And what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another. And I've tried a lot of stuff. Now, just before the show, I was talking about how I had gone through a lot of old communications and emails and so forth that I'd gotten about people who had recommended certain year-end traditions that they engage in. One of them being, you know, looking back at the year, writing down all the successes, writing down the could-be-betters, and then making a list for the next year, what it is that you want to do better, what it is that you want to improve on, or not improve on, that you want to add to your successes and so forth. It's great. Do it if you want, but don't beat yourself up if you don't necessarily feel like doing it. Having an awareness of where your destination is, that to me is the most important thing. Just being aware of where it is that you're going. Because if you have no idea where it is or what the destination is.
So what would you say to, so
exactly.
We're days away from the end of New Year. Appio, I have no idea what my destination is.
I would say, you know what? In that case, care about what it is that you want right now. That's your destination.
Cool.
Yeah. And then once you get there, if the destination changes once you actually get there, fantastic. But if that destination is right now, good enough. And then you can go to the next now, and then the next now, and then the next now. That's how you just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really just, yeah. And again, until you stop breathing, you'll get to a destination and realize, oh, there's another one. Oh, they're right.
Exactly.
Cool. And I think I got this from Jack Canfield. And I've been maintaining this for years, and it's a be, do, and have list. Mm-hmm. Everything I would like to be, everything I would like to do, everything I would like to have. And
I love that.
New Year's Eve is when I consciously go back and look at it. Mm-hmm. And I think, he encouraged you to write in each area to get at least 100 items. Yes. And I surpassed 500. But because thanks it's all a computer, I can cross out the things I've done. And still see. So it's really neat to see, what can I cross out that happened this year, and just see that list. So that's, and again, it's simple. It's not, there's as much ceremony to it as you want to create, but just what do you want to be, what do you want to do, what do you want to have?
And, I have used that exact same list. And I got it from Jack Canfield as well. And I love it. Yeah. I love it. That is one of the things that I still do engage in. Perhaps not as consistently, but, when I remember, let me go back to that list, or, let me open it up and see what I want to add to it. Yeah. What can I cross off of it? It's fun. That's a really fun exercise. Yeah. If you turn it into like my gosh, again, everything needs to be approached from a point of playfulness and joy. At least that's how I always recommend.
Yeah, no, like everything. Yeah, I'm not intentionally sharing any suggestion that's meant to feel like a burden and like, God. This is for, if you don't plan, you just shit. Another year's gone by. And I found another quote that I love. This is from Robin Sharma. Don't live the same year 75 times and call it a life. So again, if that's how you've been going, that's how you've been feeling, kind of destinationless, and just each year's the same as the last one, and just more people keep leaving the planet on you. Mm-hmm. Reflect. What did you like? What you know? Get that be, do, and have. Make the vision board. They're meant to be fun. Get some magazines. Just look through a magazine. That's neat. I'd like to have that. Great. That's all it is.
Yeah, I've used all of those things, all of those tools. I've used, I would say, the majority of them to get going, to get things started. And then I find my own things at work. Yeah. And, it's like, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're not, and I'm not going to go back to that, the definition of insanity, but you're not living, you're happening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like I encourage people, you can proactively create your life, or just passively react to life. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I just reacted to life. So these are all different ways that you can help, gather this year, bless it, say goodbye to it, and then all right, what do I want to start creating for this next year that's coming my way?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a fun thing to do. Yeah.
So another thing this comes up a lot too. So we've touched on, reviewing, journaling, meditation, making some little, your own personal ritual of however you want to honor what the past year has been.
Yes.
Another thing that comes up from a lot of suggestions, something that I don't just do it at the year end, but clear your clutter.
Yeah. Oh. Wait, I gather clutter. Yeah.
Do you ever clear it?
Sometimes.
So this could be.
It's kind of a year-long ritual type of thing. I clear it, and then I start to gather it again, and then I clear it, and then I start to gather it again. I'm not even going to show you what's on either side of the screen right now. It's not bad. It really isn't, and most of it is.
So if you don't know how to clear clutter, what that really means, but this could show up in your life as purging out your file cabinet, right? Old forms, old stuff. Go through your closet. stuff you haven't worn all year. Maybe that's a sign it's time to move on from that. Delete old files on a computer. Organize physical files or virtual files. Clearing away old and unnecessary paper. Archiving things. It allows fresh new opportunities to come into your life, right?
Yeah.
If your cabinet or desk is full of like last year's bank statements everywhere, it's just chaos. Like, well, what if it was ordered? Would money like to come into your life? If it was more order, had a file for it to live in, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And these, we touched on the election. Maybe it's time to purge your social media connections, even, right? Is Aunt Martha always setting you on Facebook? You can hide her, you can block her.
But you should bring it up because that was one of those mid-year resolutions that I ended up making, and that is engage in social media less, not more. And consequently, it's like, well, I may be less aware of some of the things that have been going on in some of our circles, but at the same time, oh my God, my life has been so much more peaceful. I have to admit, it's been kind of nice.
So, and Christy Marie Sheldon is a spiritual teacher that I know, and her test for clutter is pick something up. Do I love it? Then get rid of it. And so that's just wow. So if you really want to clear clutter, just go. Do I love this still? No, get rid of it.
Okay. That's like, if I love it, don't I want to keep it?
Oh yes, yeah. You're looking for that yes or no about
that makes
the strictest
sense. If I don't love it anymore, gone.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a simple one.
It's simple, but I find it hard to do.
Oh yeah, because
there's a lot of things I don't. Do I love this printer? Well, no, but it still works. I like it.
That kind of goes to a very human tendency that we have with our emotions. That the common dialogue that we oftentimes have either with ourselves or with others. It's like, I don't want to stop feeling. I don't think I'll ever feel this way again. I'm like, well, yeah, it's true. You won't. You'll probably feel the same thing, but in a slightly different way, and there are infinite expressions of that emotion. But yeah, it's true. You'll never feel that exact same way again. But that ties into the whole clinging, not wanting to let go. We have such a ritual within our lives as human beings of wanting to attach to things emotionally, even if it is a coffee mug or a piece of paper, for heaven's sake. There's so much attachment. Detaching doesn't necessarily mean that we've stopped caring. Detaching just means that we're focused on now. We're focused on being in the now.
Yeah, and have that awareness. Well, I don't love this thing anymore. Oh, but it reminds me of where it came from. And again, you can honor that past and then let that thing go.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So we talked about documenting your success in various ways and looking at your achievements.
Yep.
One other thing. So usually each year I do a thing I call an information fast, an info fast. Because as an entrepreneur, I sign up for lots of webinars and classes. And so my info fast, usually a month long, I usually made it my birthday month of July or December, like info fast. I'm not going on, I'm not checking out anything new. I'm just using what I've already got. And I didn't do it this year. But so one thing that I was going to do New Year's Eve weekend was make a list of all the classes and programs and books I bought this year that I haven't looked at all yet. So here's a reminder. I don't need to buy anything new. Let's use what I've already purchased, right?
Right.
But so another similar to that, one of the tips I found was assess your lessons learned. Call your notes from the conferences, classes, and webinars you've attended throughout the year, as well as any books you've read. And now here's the real homework part. Summarize your key learnings and set up 3 to 5 action steps based on each of those things. That's pushing it because I go to a lot of things, so I don't know if I could do that.
Right.
But the key is, knowledge is great, but knowledge with action is really how you create your life.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And for the overachieving type A personalities out there, I'd say that's perfect. That's really, really good. For me, it's just like, you know what? Summarizing key learnings or going through and saying, hey, you know what? I got this out of here. I got this out of there. I think that's fantastic. That's something I'm probably going to take that particular piece of advice and go through a lot of shit that I've learned this year and summarize it up. Yeah. The rest of it, I don't know. But yeah, whatever works for you.
Well, and to look at something and go, yeah, I got nothing from that. Yeah, great. Or you probably, I would even challenge that. when
Yeah.
it was the lesson that, oh, I don't need to buy things so frivolously. I mean, there's a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes that ritual can actually create a realization that you had no idea that would have ever crossed your consciousness had you not gone through the ritual.
So this is why I make this list and have info fast as well, because I buy a lot of stuff. So 2 days ago, webinar and email. Well, that sounds amazing. This is what I need. This feels familiar. I bought it in July. The thing I'm about to buy again now. I bought in July, I haven't used. Of course, I still like that hook. It still interests me. So that's and that reminded me I had not made my list of my classes and webinars of 2016 yet to make sure that I use them.
Boom, fist bump there.
And another thing, so another great way to end the year and have gratitude and awareness and go forward. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're in sales, if you run your own business, thank your top clients.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like what if you sent a handwritten note, a handwritten thank you to your top 5 customers or clients? Yeah. Like how special would they feel? Or extend this to your vendors and your colleagues, right? The best performers on your team if you're running a company or lead people, right? I don't know if you knew this. Denver Broncos, the NFL team, the Denver Broncos, their linebacker, Von Miller, I think it was the week before Christmas, he sent a bottle of wine and a thank you note to not just all the players on his team, but all the players in the NFL in his division. So he sent a thank you card to his teammates and his competitors, thanking them for allowing him to live his dreams.
Wow.
I was like, that is cool and powerful and full of gratitude and awareness. And
that's FCMF right there. And for those who aren't familiar with FCMF, we have a mutual friend, Jonathan Benjamin. Eventually, we're going to have him on the show. That he started this whole FCMF thing. FCMF is short for first class motherfucker, and that is totally FCMF.
Yeah. Hashtag FCMF.
Yep.
I think Jonathan's making a whole program of that.
Yeah, he is. He's actually, it's launching very, very soon. Cool. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to pin him down is because he's been so busy getting the program up and running and launching and so forth that, he's just been 100% focused on that, which is yay him for that. And,
so now we're kind of leading into, creating the new year and what do you want to write down? And, one thing I've read, and there's research that backs this up, is that, let me ask you, have you been good at, do you have 3-year goals and 5-year goals and those sort of things?
I've never really been good at that. I have them. The word goal for me has always kind of had a slightly emotionally triggering effect on me. So for whatever reason, because goals for me are always kind of like, okay, I've been here, I've done that, but then I failed. And so I let go of the word goals and I've turned it into more of a would like to type of my would like to list, my desire list. And excuse me, just 1 second here. I need to, Hubby just got home and he was making some noise and didn't want to disturb us. So anyway, so I've turned it into my playlist, my would like to list. No longer a goal, but where I work now, it's kind of fun because they don't use the term goal either. They call it a GSD for get shit done.
Yeah, those are the fun ways. Again, when things become weighted or feel heavy, you give it a funner acronym now. And
absolutely.
You bring some lightness to it.
If it starts to feel heavy, I give it a better acronym. Yeah. It's still the same thing. I just change the terminology so that it has a more emotionally lighter touch.
So we were talking a little bit before the show, and I've always been resistant to even 1-year goals, and let alone 3 and 5. I just don't do it.
Right.
And I thought, is it because, of my history of depression and suicide attempts? So I can't look forward because I didn't know I'd be here and that kind of stuff. But I was very happy to find research leading up to this show that said setting 1, 3, or 5-year goals are a complete waste of time for human beings.
I feel
our motivation drops off so much. So it's great to have a vision, the destination, which you have said often tonight. But 3 to 5 year goals, it just we have a 90-day horizon for motivation. That's it. Right?
A wise man once said, "Fuck that shit," and he lives happily ever after.
So the USC Mind and Society Center proved that goals beyond 90 days actually increase our procrastination. Ludwig and Geller showed that without the feedback loop of short-term goals, our motivation immediately begins to drop off. And I've read this about projects and seen in my life that any project will inflate to fill the time it is given. Right?
Oh yeah, I am living proof of that.
So I offer and suggest to you to take 2017 and see it as bursts of 90 days. Right? And that's what companies do it. They go on, go quarter to quarter to quarter. And that's what they focus on.
Right.
They don't focus on the whole year at one time. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's interesting. I am so glad you found that study and that you cited it, because I feel so vindicated right now.
Did you fund this study?
Oh man, I would I'll fund that one for sure. Laurie, go for it.
I just, when you were saying that, it just reminded me of, so I'm a big football freak, and I'm a New England Patriots fan, and Bill Belichick, the head coach, always talks about each month of the season. He talks about September, 4 games, and every week it's always, we just focus on this game that's coming up. We don't think about the next game. We only think about this game, right? So there's never talk, like for as many times as they've gotten to the AFC Championship and gone to the Super Bowl, you will never hear him or the team players mention the Super Bowl until they're in it.
I love that.
They don't. They always talk about, we reached our first goal, right? They just won the division. We reached our first goal. We have other things to do.
Yeah.
So it's out there. That's their long-term, ultimate goal.
The destination.
Yeah, the vision, the destination. Yeah.
But they do not, like, when you said it, I'm like, oh my God, I have never heard a Patriots player talk about, or Belichick talk about, going to the Super Bowl ever. Not in preseason, not ever. They just talk about our next goal is our next thing is the next game. That's it. And it's only about doing their direct job. And it just dawned on me. I'm like, oh my God, they never talk about it. Like other teams, like, oh, we want to get to the Super Bowl. That's our goal. They never say that. Yeah. Even the owners don't talk about it. So Belichick obviously subscribes to this and has told everyone, no, you can't talk about it.
And that's the important thing.
I was like, oh my God, they never, like other coaches, I hear them, we want to get to the Super Bowl. That's our goal. Yeah. But I have never heard Belichick ever say it. Mind you, he's been to, how many? 6.
Lost count.
Like 6 while he's coached us. So us. Like that. So
I love it.
I just wanted to mention that because I'm not a goal setter at all. Like it is a huge aversion of mine. Mm-hmm. And even like setting what do you want to do for New Year's? It's like, I'll decide on New Year's.
Yeah.
Like I can't like, I don't like any of that.
But again, and if you don't know where you're going, it's hard to know you got there.
Yeah.
I get and when I take the time to do it, wow, I see the value, but I also ignore it many years of my life.
Absolutely. And to your point, I think this is a thought that I've had many, many times. This, is it perhaps gender specific as far as the desire to have goals and everything else? I don't know. Maybe that's a question that we want to explore in a future show, perhaps. Is it a guy thing that we always have to, pursue goals, part of the competitive nature of us or whatever? Just a thought. I don't know.
Goals. Well, so let's talk about goals, because I've got I've always heard in the business world, you want to have SMART goals, and this is the structure, and SMART is the acronym for specific,
Oh, yeah.
measurable, achievable, and results focused. And like that feels, like and rigid and that's horrible and gross. So I found one guy that gave it, when it comes to personal goals, he called it smarter goals. So it's still specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, time frame with an emotion and a reward. Because you got the emotion means it's the big phrase now is like, what's your big why? Like, why are you doing that? So how does it feel setting that goal, and how will it feel achieving that goal? And so that's your emotional aspect of it. And also identify a reward. A reward when you get there, right? Because you achieve something, and if it is,
it's like, now what?
So, and if it's food, if it's a treat, if it's buying some music, if it's getting some new clothing, if it's like whatever it is, but know ahead of time.
Right. Yeah.
So help create that motivation, and also don't have just by the end of the year I want to do this, because we talked about project bloat. So if you got a big thing, break it down. Those 90-day chunks. So have a 90-day goal. Have chunk down your reward. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe you get the shoes, and then you get the hat, and this whatever else.
Yeah, but you're 90 day. I want this. I mean, if you can't use the word goal, it's like, it's six in your craw or something, and just say my 90 day. I want this, and the part of the I want this, I want the reward. In fact, I've even seen that broken down even further, where it's like, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to do this, and my reward after doing this for the next 30 minutes is this. And that's especially applied in the area of personal fitness. That's where I've seen it most frequently used is, okay, I'll exercise for 30 minutes, then I'll reward myself with something good, but not necessarily fattening.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing. Like, really, wow, it's right. Like, growing up, I was a heavy kid because every reward was food.
Yeah.
So I was joking, like, what's the man's best outfit? I don't know. I don't know how to shop. I can barely dress myself. So it's tough to say that is a reward for me as well. So so our reward with music, with a concert, maybe perhaps with a book, those are things I'll identify. Or again, a nice meal at a specific place, not just a brownie sundae somewhere, but a healthy meal somewhere nice.
Recently, a couple of my rewards that I've been giving myself are again, I've been having a hard time being playful. Ironic to talk about it a lot, but so some of my playful rewards for myself are either little Lego things, because I love Legos. I still continue to collect them. I will never let go. I'm so glad when they open up a Lego store nearby, because now I've just gone crazy with it. But also, like for instance, going to a movie. So I've been to see Rogue One multiple times. Let's just put it that way.
Cool. So that's an important thing to again, we originally talked about like ways to honor and recognize the past. So honor, recognize your goals and your accomplishments as they're going. Don't wait 12 months to celebrate what you've done.
Yeah. Turn the celebration into something fun for you and make it about you.
Yeah. So if goals are a word you're comfortable with, I'll call them actions. Or again, that's what my be, do, have list really is kind of my lifetime goal thing.
I
will set it out to times, like what I want to be, do, and have in January. Well, now I'll really look at, based on the first 12 days of the year, which of each focus on be, do, have different each of the 12 days to signify the coming 12 months. There's another way to read it.
Yeah. Take a lot of these and we can mishmash them together. In fact, you reminded me that it has been over a year since I looked at my be, do, have list. Time to pull it out. And Laura, you wanted to say something.
I did, just around the rewards. I have a really tough time rewarding myself. Like that's doesn't come easy, right? Like, because you should finish the project before you reward with on smaller steps. But I worked with a coach and he made me, like that was part of the challenge, was I had to reward myself. And for people who struggle with it, like you had to find, he was like, well, what do you really want? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't know. But I love to cook. So he said, you have to buy, like I got to buy like a new cool knife.
Yeah.
to cook. So for people who have hobbies that might not be willing to spend the money on like something extravagant, like, right, like it's hard to justify, like, oh my God, like how am I going to buy a $150 knife? Like, right, like that's like crazy, right? And that's what I was saying to him. I'm like, well, if I get a new client, I can't take a chunk of that money and go buy a knife. That's so stupid, right? Like in my mind, that's like ridiculous. But he was like, well, if you didn't have, like, it's not all of the money, and if you didn't get the client, you wouldn't have any. So what is the difference? And so I was like, oh, so when we talk about rewarding, like, it doesn't have to be food. I am a very food oriented person as well.
Right. So did you?
Yes.
Yay.
I have learned to treat myself with that kind of stuff for that. And I was in Weight Watchers for years, and they were very much oriented. And I had to lose 100 pounds. And so you can't, you can have that long-term goal, but you can't not celebrate along the way. So for every 5 pounds, I celebrated, but for every 25, I splurged and got something, and it wasn't food. But it is, for a lot of people, and I don't think men would be different on this. A lot of people, it's really hard to justify or to come up with things that are considered rewards, that aren't just the standard things. Like, oh, going out to dinner. Well, I go out to dinner every week. That's not special. Like, how do you give yourself that extra treat and not? So it's a toughie, but like I found, like if you have a hobby, that could be your, that's an easy way to find a way to reward, like through that. I mean, I like to travel too, but like within reason, right? Like if I had my way, every 5 pounds, I'd be like, woohoo, weekend out in California, or I'm going to the Bahamas. But,
that would be a big one for me. It's like definitely a woohoo type of reward.
But you can certainly sell, like I got a diamond bracelet when I got to my final goal. So it's like, and I knew that was my plan. Like my plan was, I'm getting that when I get there.
Yeah.
So that's another way this be, do, have list can come into play. So you would look at that, like, what are some of my rewards I've listed? Oh, hey, I can get that one, and right, I'd have it.
Yeah.
So there's 2 more things I wanna share before we wrap up. One way I deal with ritual a lot is burning. So if you're in that 2016 sucked camp, write it down, review it. Well, what I don't want to feel, I felt this, write it down, and then set it on fire to release it, let it go, right? Or even, and this is harder for me because I'm kind of a hoarder. If I have my intentions and everything I want to happen and my be, do, and have for the new year, and maybe they're all written out in quarterly chunks. A coach I had in the past was like, set that on fire too. Let that spirit, let that dissolve. And I'm like, but no, then they won't have it to follow. I need to have it, So that's my old shit kicks in then. But so I challenge myself to just burn everything I create on New Year's Eve day. I shall set fire to.
And have you tried doing that for the joyful things also, the great things? Have you tried doing the burning in and releasing the good things?
Yeah, that was the first time. It was the both. I'm like, really?
All right, yeah. I wasn't certain if that's what you were referring to.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I could burning things I didn't like and wanting to let go and be done with. That's easy. But yeah, setting fire to, these are my dreams. But that,
right.
So the last exercise. The last ritual I want to pass on is something you can do kind of all year or whenever you choose to start. And New Year's Day might be a great time to start. And if you're doing it, it's a great time to kind of review it. But it's called the Jar of Happiness. And so I have a mason jar kind of adorned with things. And the idea is each day, you just a little note you put in the jar, the happiest thing that happened that day. And you fill up your jar. And at the end of the year, you go to your jar and you spend all day and you read them all. So it's almost like a living gratitude. It's just a different way to honor, to appreciate, to have reminders. I filled up my first jar 3 years ago. And my jar, I used too small of a jar. It was like, it was halfway through the year, my jar was full. I'm like, well, I did this wrong. My rule keeper is saying I've done this wrong. I screwed it up. So I have never opened this. This is 3 years old. I've never dunked into it because, and we've talked about this, my prior 2 years to this, I was depressed and miserable in the winter. So New Year's Eve, I don't have a great history of, yay, it's New Year's Eve. Right?
Well, instead of doing it New Year's Eve, do it on New Year's Day, and that tradition of what you do on the first day or the first 12 days of the year.
So I think but to honor this, I'm picking out one. So, fantastic ebook class, my first at Circles of Wisdom. 13 people attended, all raved. Wow, May 28th, 2014. So yeah, I think I made that. So that's my one note thing. I'm sure my instructions, the idea of this, I didn't have to date it, but I want to know exactly when this happened. So I'm going to spend part of my New Year's Day is going to be opening and reading each thing, and I'm going to start again because this is partially something I taught and shared. I have an online class called The Power of Gratitude.
Right.
And this is one of the exercise. And so it's when I made that class, and I've never finished that exercise. I've never gone and read them. So that's one thing I will do. But that's
I love that one. I don't think I've actually heard, I maybe have heard people allude to it, but wow, I think that's a new one I'm going to be incorporating into my practice.
It's
personal practice, because it's what a great tradition.
Yeah. And again, anything that's fun, add it to your practice. And if you haven't done any of this, if you haven't journaled, if you haven't meditated, if you haven't given yourself time alone, if you haven't looked back at your calendar to what was like, oh, thank God I'm not doing that again. Or, oh, wow, I forgot that happened. Give yourself that opportunity. Yeah. And then, have a new ritual every year. Like, ritual is meant to support, and ritual just means a certain set of steps around something to kind of to almost make a sacredness, to make it more meaningful. So you make your own ritual.
Yeah, and there's a difference between ritual and tradition. I think it's important to clarify that. True ritual is something that evolves and expands with us, whereas tradition is just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Tradition is like insanity.
Right. So if tradition is getting drunk, waking up hungover at 3 p.m. in the new year, and again, if it feels good, if you enjoy it, great.
Knock yourself out.
Right. But if you spend the first 12 days of the year regretting how you went into the prior year, we encourage you and invite you to set a better tone, right? If you want change in your life, here's just a number of ways to start bringing some about.
And it doesn't have to be everything. It can be just one thing. It can even be a portion of one thing. It doesn't matter. It's just, it's just something. A small change, a small doing something different is enough to get that snowball going.
Oh, and I got one more short one. I have not done this, but I discovered this. So this is for welcoming good luck and prosperity. I believe it's feng shui related. Mm-hmm. So for good luck in the coming year, people in some cultures throw money into the house the first time they enter after the new year has begun. So if you're staying home New Year's Eve, go outside your front door a minute after midnight and throw coins through the entryway. Bless them with all the qualities you want to bring in the new year. Joy, clarity, success, health, whatever it is. Leave them where they land for 48 hours, then give them to charity.
Ooh.
That's the good luck, prosperity, money throwing ritual. I'm gonna do that this year. So
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So then, if you're going out New Year's Eve, you're gonna want to remember that and have something when you come back home.
Well, yeah, it's not gonna be 12:01. I can tell you that right now, because I am going out.
Yep. So whenever you come home,
yeah,
chuck your wallet through the door, but then you have to give it all away. So decide what you're gonna throw through the door.
I'll see if I can pull out a $100 bill somewhere and throw that through the door.
Beautiful. Awesome. So, I want to take the time. If I had done some of these practices, Real Men Feel would have started a month earlier. December, I was not in the best place. So it was
right.
I was like, what do I want to do? What's showing up? Which really does prove you can make change whenever you want to in your life.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So these are things that are popular if you search. But again, I just don't waste your energy around resolutions and get caught up in that tradition. Again, unless the tradition means something and helps you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Play, make your own ritual, make your own hashtags. First class, get shit done, motherfuckers, whatever you want it to be. Right?
GSD, USCMF.
So thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us. I'm looking forward to next year for what it brings to the show, what it brings to the world, everything.
I am so excited about, because not only is it going to be a year of birth, a year of new, but it's just, man, dude, it's like the future is so bright. As what's the old song? The future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. For sure. I'm excited. I am so excited about everything that's coming and everything that's already taken place.
So I want to thank you, Appio, for a great year here and elsewhere, not just on the show.
Indeed.
I'll thank Lori, my wife, who joins us the most often, and for sharing some of her opinions tonight.
And I love it whenever you jump in, Lori, because it always just adds so much to the conversation.
And just, again, proof. You don't have to be a man to listen, to partake, to get value. So we will be live again Tuesday, January 10th, 2017. It's going to take a while to get used to saying that.
Right.
I don't write as many chicks as I used to have to, so I don't write it wrong for the first 3 months of the year. But we're really opening the new year with a festive topic here. We're going to be talking about humanizing sexual abuse with our guest Ben Gaddis. So we're going to be exploring sexual abuse from the perpetrator and the victim side. So it's going to be a powerful, healing, deep episode.
Indeed.
Or not. Maybe we'll laugh our way through it, which happens often too.
We do that a lot too.
Yep. But anyway, we wish you all the best for the rest of this year, for all of next year, for all of the coming years that we all have before us. So thanks again for joining us. And until next time, join us at realmenfeel.org. Join the Real Men Feel group on Facebook. Share what you thought of this show. Give us a review on iTunes. Comment on the blog. Share the show. You can also reach out to us via email at realmenfeel@gmail.com. And have a fantastic New Year's.
Indeed. Happy New Year to everybody. And Andy, thank you for one of the most amazing years I've had so far.
Beautiful. Thanks. It's been my honor to be here with you.
Likewise.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.